You asked for it, so you got it. A mock draft, round 1, picks 1 through 12. Let's talk Lions. Thank you for liking, for commenting, and subscribing to the channel. Couple things before we get into the mock draft, just some housekeeping things, some stuff that I'd like to communicate with you. Number 1, this bear spot, in case you are wondering, I am having a company, Oxford Pennant, make me a custom banner. They actually did this pennant over here. They're phenomenal. They're not sponsoring this. There's nothing behind it other than the goodness of their heart creating me a custom banner that I'm paying for with my money. So number 2, I'm going to start doing a weekly Q&A segment episode. And so basically I'm thinking every Saturday, but throughout the week, gathering your questions and then creating an episode strictly around that where I answer 3 to 7-ish questions depending on what I get throughout the week. I read all the comments, and so kind of looking through them, picking which ones that I want to talk about, and making an episode dedicated to that. So drop your questions in the comments section, because your boy's looking. And lastly, I want to thank you. Thank you for all being incredibly supportive, respectful, and just awesome people that love the Lions and that really care to see me, my channel, grow and become more. I wouldn't be where I am without you, and so really, truly, thank you. So without further ado, roll it, Dr. Mario, and let's get to that mock draft. Round 1, picks 1 through 12. We are going to cover the first 12 picks in this video. The reason I'm not doing all 32 in the first video is simply because there's so much, and if I want to actually talk about it, I don't want this video to be forever long. This is not The Sandlot. I am not Squints dressed up as a cop. So with that being said, we are going to cut this into 3 videos. Picks 1 through 12, picks 13 to 22, and then 23 to 32. So let's get drafting. Pick number 1, the Jacksonville Jaguars. And they're going for Trevor Lawrence. That's right, the QB out of Clemson. Big shocker. First of all, it was gonna happen. It's gonna happen. That's the one we're all like, okay, yeah, like the Jags are gonna take Trevor Lawrence. It is what it is. Then after hiring Urban Meyer to be their coach, it's like, oh wow, okay, yep, yeah, yes. Pick number 2, we got the Jet Skis on the clock, and they're going with QB Zach Wilson out of BYU. That's right. All off season, it's been very interesting to see the amount of steam that Wilson has picked up over the course of time. He is Thomas the Engine, the little engine that could. Before, it was very much a Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields type of idea. Now seeing throughout the offseason all of the research that I've done and looking at different mock drafts and seeing where everything's falling and what teams need what, I do believe that the Jets will take Zach Wilson. He has picked up so much steam, not to mention, ever since Robert Saleh became the head coach for the New York Jets, I think that really solidifies them taking him. Now, again, this is also without considering the fact that Deshaun Watson could be a New York Jet. If that happens, then this is all shot from here out. However, as it stands today, the New York Jets are taking Zach Wilson. Pick number 3, the Miami Dolphins. Thanks, Houston, for your absolute dysfunction. I got the Dolphins taking Ja'Marr Chase. That's right, wide receiver out of LSU. I mean, when you look at the Fins right now, their number 1 receiver is Devontae Parker. Tua needs somebody else to throw to. You know, there's also some areas that they could really benefit from, whether it's an O-lineman. However, looking at the Dolphins, I think that they will take Ja'Marr Chase. He's an excellent route runner. Tua needs another guy to throw the ball to. I think Ja'Marr Chase will fit into the Dolphins culture and work with a guy like Tua very well. Number 4, the Atlanta Falcons. Man, I am sorry, Atlanta, because all this time has been projected that you guys would be getting Zach Wilson. But as I have it, as I'm looking, I think Zach Wilson's going too. So I think that Atlanta kind of gets screwed in a way and goes with Justin Fields, the Ohio State quarterback. Poor Atlanta. Atlanta has been hung over since the Super Bowl loss to the Patriots a few years back. And then instead of detoxing, they thought that the best way to detox was to retox, and it's not working out for them. They have just been in a perpetual state of being hungover. Matt Ryan, the whole deal. So I do believe that they go with Ohio State's Justin Fields. Looking at him, looking what he would offer to the Atlanta Falcons. There's talk about potentially Trey Lance, but I think they go Justin Fields. Number 5 are the Cincinnati Bengals, and I got them taking offensive tackle Rashawn Slater out of Northwestern. Cincy has to go offensive tackle. They have to. There's talk about a potential tight end. I'm looking at Cincinnati. Look at what happened to Joe Burrow this last year. Look, you got your franchise QB, and that's phenomenal. Kudos to you. But the problem is, if you can't protect your franchise quarterback, then you don't have one. You don't. He's not going to be able to just bounce back. The amount of work that Burrows is going to have to go through this offseason to get back on pace to be where he was, physically speaking, you need a good O-line. If you can't protect Burrow, what was the point of last year? So I really think that they need to spend and will spend this first round, 5th overall pick on Rashawn Slater, offensive tackle out of Northwestern. Unless, of course, you don't want Joe Burrow to keep living, and then you pick a tight end. Then you just pick the tight end. Number 6, we got the Philadelphia Eagles, and I got them picking the cornerback out of Alabama, Patrick Surtain. Philly needs this. They need a shutdown corner. When you look at them, and they got Darius Slay from us, 2 years ago at this point? It's all a blur. They need somebody in the secondary to actually be able to shut down the opposing wide receivers. And I look at Surtain, and you look at what he's been able to do at Alabama, and I think he will fit into Philly perfectly. And it's tough for Philly. It's tough for Philly right now because they need a lot. They need a lot defensively. There's talk even about whether it's a tight end or wide receiver. There's so many. Now with Carson Wentz potentially going to Chicago, they're saying, well, what about Trey Lance? Which to me, you have Jalen Hurts. I don't think you should waste your first round pick on a quarterback, not at 6. I do believe that they go with the cornerback out of Bama, Surtain. Number 7 is the Detroit Lions, and I think we pick up Devontae Smith out of Alabama, wide receiver. I really do. There's so many different variables and options and people talking about QBs and this and that. I do not believe we do that. I think Brad Holmes believes in Jared Goff. I think this year, looking at the free agency hit that we're taking on the wide receiver core, the fact that Smith is able to, in my prediction, fall to number 7. If he can fall to number 7, that's what the Detroit Lions pick up. We get Devontae Smith, a phenomenal, dynamic addition to the wide receiver core that is otherwise depleted. To have Smith, Cephus, Allison, that is a solid start. Maybe grab somebody like Rashard Higgins in free agency. I think Devontae Smith goes to the Detroit Lions at 7. Number 8, we got the Carolina Panthers. Now, seeing as Carolina was obviously willing to dish out Teddy Bridgewater to the Lions, that news just came out that they're willing to give us Bridgewater and the 8th overall pick for Matt Stafford. That tells me they're not sold on Bridgewater and that they're looking elsewhere. And so with that, I do believe that they draft Trey Lance, quarterback out of North Dakota. Look, I think Trey Lance would find success in Carolina. I think with his mobility, with his stature, a lot about who he is. The only thing is Carolina patient enough to watch and see if he develops the way they need him to be? I look at Trey Lance and I see it's kind of like, in a way, it reminds me of the Josh Allen coming into the league and everybody being like, you're not good enough, and writing him off. However, an organization believing in that individual, developing that individual, and then that guy being able to go to the AFC Championship or the NFC Championship. I could see that with a guy like Trey Lance. I wouldn't say people are sleeping on him, but I would say that there's an easier shove off, and Trey Lance is better than a lot of people give him credit for. I would say that there is a lot of room for development for Trey Lance to become an excellent quarterback in the NFL. But is Carolina patient enough? Do they hold that virtue? Because if so, Trey Lance out of North Dakota to Carolina. Next up, we got Denver at number 9, and I think Denver takes linebacker Micah Parsons out of Penn State. Now look, the unfortunate part about Micah Parsons is everything outside of the game of football that is surrounding him, all the allegations, there's a lot of issues, and so for that reason, I could very well see him not being in the top 10. I could see him not being in the first round because of all of that. However, for the sake of it, looking at it strictly this, I think that the Denver Broncos would benefit from Micah Parsons' gameplay, from his intellect on the field. He would be somebody that Denver could really benefit from. Game 1, Micah Parsons would make a difference on the Denver Broncos. Number 10, we got the Dallas Cowboys, and I got them taking Gregory Rousseau. Dallas has a ton of issues right now, and specifically looking at them defensively. They're losing a bunch of guys to the free agency. They are really needing to fill these holes on the defensive side of the ball, and I think Rousseau, when you look at his gameplay, I think he would be phenomenal in Dallas. He's an excellent edge rusher. I think he would do wonders for the Cowboys. Number 11, we got the New York Giants, and I got them taking wide receiver Jaylen Waddle. Looking at Waddle, the number one reason I have him going to the Giants are Danny Dimes needs somebody to throw the ball to. Waddle is the next best receiver after Devontae Smith and Jamar Chase. Looking at all of these guys, Waddle to me is the number 3 wide receiver to go in this draft, and I think the Giants need to pick up a wide receiver. I think that this would elevate Daniel Jones's game. He needs somebody to toss that ham to, and Jaylen Waddle goes to the New York Giants. And lastly, for today at number 12, I got the San Francisco 49ers taking cornerback Caleb Farley out of Virginia Tech. Look, San Fran's defense, specifically the secondary, is shifting. It's falling apart. Richard Sherman is leaving. They're losing guys to free agency, and so I think that they should and will pick up a cornerback at the 12 spot, and Caleb Farley fits into the San Francisco defense nicely. So Caleb Farley to San Francisco. And that concludes picks 1 through 12 for the first round in my mock draft video. I hope you enjoyed. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What did you agree with? And what did you disagree with? What were you like, you're wrong, you jabroni? And I'm like, my God, why? You didn't have to say that, because that hurts. Hurts a lot. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I look forward to discussing it with you as always. And I'll catch you next time on Let's Talk Lions.